I think third-party recruiters are forced to know the marketplace inside out. I think the advantage to a third-party recruiter is they're objective, they're neutral, they're calling in all the companies all the time, and they know the marketplace. Where an internal recruiter is going to go off a database list or go off a list they're given, and in some situations, they're not going to actually call into a company. They're just going to call the person in the database and just ask if they're interested. A third-party recruiter is not only going to ask if that person's interested, they're going to find out everyone in that person's universe and call those individuals and see if they're potentially interested.
There are certain distinct advantages of using a third-party recruiter like myself as opposed to an internal recruiter. First off, I get to play by different rules. Since I'm not part of the company, I don't have to deal with any sort of internal rules or internal bureaucracy that might be involved in performing a search. I.e., I can call your direct competitors, I can call anyone in that competitor, and it's not going to be something where it gets back to the organization and it might cause a problem between the two companies.
The candidates that we place, I would say 99% of the time, are not actively looking candidates. Some of them don't even have LinkedIn profiles, but they're candidates that we know about because we know who to call and ask. We're looking for XYZ. Who does this? Who are the 5 best people you know that could do this job? Not who's moving, not who's movable. If you were hiring, who are the 5 people that would do this job? And those names are the invaluable names you get using a third-party recruiter that are not going to be on some database or some monster.com or anything like that.
They can't call into direct competitors. They don't really have the knowledge or ability to do some of the things that I can do. Because when they're representing their company, they can only represent their company. So when they talk to a candidate and they say, hey, I work at company X, the candidate has the perception of, hey, this person's trying to get me to go here. Me as the recruiter and an extension for HR, I can say the same things but be perceived very differently because it's not mandatory for me to have the candidate go to that company. If it's the right place, I'm going to help them get there. If it's not the right place, I don't want them to go there.
Because if you're known in the marketplace and you call a director at XYZ company and he knows you, it's a very casual conversation. He or she picks up the phone, hey Brian, how you doing? What's going on? What are you working on? We need help with. It's a very easy conversation. If you're an internal recruiter calling from another company who may be a competitor, why are they going to help that person? But they're going to help the recruiter because at some point or another, that third-party recruiter will be able to help them, whether it's placing someone at that organization or helping them with their next move.
I think the biggest advantage I have over the dedicated internal recruiter is a lot of times every hiring manager is coming up to them and saying my position is the most important to fill, which they're right, it is for them. And so there's a lot of pressure for that internal recruiter to try and satisfy a lot of different people. When I take that specific assignment, I'm dedicated, I'm focused on solving that particular problem.
Now, one of the key advantages of using us specifically, Diedre Moire, as a specialty recruiter is we have the largest private database of resumes. We have over 7 million technical professionals. And quite frankly, most people throw out resumes after 6 months, assuming that they wouldn't be open to new opportunities. And so we have resumes that might be a couple years old. And sure, the resume may be old, but right now they're in that itch cycle. And you're not going to be speaking with them because you don't even know them anymore. Now I have access to people that you're not even aware of. And the best kind of candidates to get on board are the ones that aren't really looking.
A lot of times when I'm working with companies, part of my job is to do something that HR can't. I don't know what they've done before. I don't know what methods. It's usually pretty passive. I'm more proactive. And so what I try and do is use tools and resources that they're not going to use. A lot of times they use LinkedIn, they use Monster. I'm going directly into labs, talking to people who are in the trenches, explaining what my client wants. And these are the things that HR people can't do. They're not comfortable to do it. They're not capable of doing it because they don't have the type of rapport where the person on the other end is going to share with them the behind-the-scenes information that you really need to make an educated decision.